take a drink because this show moves quickly. We will show you all the goals and watch as we track all the highlights. And not one, but two drives to the outfield. We are about to throw down all the best highlights. Sportsnight is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special holiday edition of Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro, and obviously it's Memorial Day week. It's Memorial Day, and we honor all those men and women who gave their lives to protect our freedom. So that's the true hero, and that's
Absolutely.
who we honor.
Thanks to all those who have spent time or are spending time in our military. But unfortunately, no rest for the wicked on this set because a very busy week coming up. A lot of tournament activity. Some tournaments already underway. Others very excited to get started, and it'll be a very busy week.
It will. Some exciting video to show you, some comebacks and some very fine games.
Well, we start with the baseball team. They had just one game to wrap up the regular season. They traveled to Eastview on Tuesday, and they lost to the Lightning 1-0. Only a couple of hits in the game for the Cardinals. Ray Wellner throws a great game. He gave up that one run in the first inning, but the Cardinals' bats have just gone ice cold, and that is a definite concern, Howie, heading into the postseason.
And no doubt about it, Joe. And we talked before the show that, even though they gave up 12 runs to Centennial, their ERA is still under 2. They're not hitting the baseball, and that's got to concern the coaching staff. And no better time than the section playoffs to start hitting the ball.
Well, and if you cut down that schedule to about midway through the regular season and that ERA drops dramatically, it's down like to 1.5 if you take that Centennial loss away. But who do they have to play? A chance for redemption first round of the playoffs. It is double elimination all the way through the brackets in Section 5 4A. The Cardinals, the number 5 seed, will travel to take on number 4 seed Centennial. And Centennial, again, handed them that 12-2 loss. It was their worst loss of the season, but Howie, remember, we were there. It was really cold. It was damp. It was not ideal baseball conditions. The Cardinals will be looking for redemption. Spring Lake Park, the number 1 seed overall, they get Champlain Park in the first round. Mounds View draws Park Center, and Totino Grace, the 2 seed, will host Irondale. And Howie, scheduled to start on Tuesday with the second round on Wednesday, but weather permitting, of course, could be pushing those first rounds back to Wednesday, Thursday, depending on the weather.
I was up on the roof, of course, before the show, and I was looking at the Doppler, and I think we're going to be. It's going to be a tough situation for to get Tuesday's game in. Let's hope they do, but we could see some rain, and that will delay them. But no better opportunity for the Cardinals in the first game of the playoffs than get that team that beat them by a 12-2 score. Just come back and see if, they get a little revenge, got a little extra fire.
Yeah, that they feel they did not show the Cougars what kind of team they really are, and they will have their opportunity to get that job done. Game time scheduled for 4 o'clock on Tuesday, and we will have the game here on CTN starting at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, depending on when the game gets done. Well, the softball team started section play last Thursday. The Cardinals were the 7th seed, traveling to take on number 2 Forest Lake. A very tough draw. The Rangers were riding a 7-game win streak into the playoffs and were averaging just under 10 runs a game during that stretch. Trying to tame their offense would be key. Unfortunately, it's hard to keep a good horse in the stable. The Rangers charge out of the gates in the first. Megan Bannicky sneaks it down the third base line. Anna Marie Burgoyne and Maddie Romanes score on the play. Forest Lake takes the early lead. Second inning, Burgoyne at the plate with nobody out. The runner at second on the move. Burgoyne connects. Long fly over the head of Jackie Larson. Avery Johnson will come over to score easily. Burgoyne in with the RBI double. Romanes at the dish next, and she drives it to left center. Wilkins can't track it down. It'll run to the wall, and Burgoyne will trot home with the Rangers' 5-0 lead. It's a 13-run hole when the Cardinals threaten in the fourth. Bases loaded with 1 out. Pop-up left side. Rangers fielders collide, and the ball drops. Kerr trying to get to the plate, but she's tagged out. That's as close as the Cardinals would come to avoiding the shutout. 14-0, the final, and definitely not the start the Cardinals wanted in the postseason.
Definitely not, but things would get better, Joe Young.
Yeah, a big weekend at the ballpark to determine whose season would continue.
Well, the Cardinals were at Fenway Field bright and early on Saturday, hoping to start a long trip back through the lower brackets. Up first, the 6-seeded Duluth East, who lost to Blaine 10-2 in the opening round. The Cardinals knew they would need to get their offense back on track if they wanted to extend their season as long as possible. It was Coach Nienaber's birthday, so a little extra incentive for the Cards, and they start the scoring in the first. 2-out runner at second. Alyssa Hansen grounds it to short. Throw to first is off target. Graham will score on the air, and Coon Rapids is on the board first. Top of 2, Jackie Larson with a seeing eye single through the left side of the infield. Cameron Schmelzer will score from second, and the Cardinals are in front by 2. Nice job scoring there. Coon Rapids able to keep adding to their lead. Third inning, Meg Scheck with a big two-out drive down the line at left. Kerr will score easily. Coon Rapids leading 4-1 after 3. Move to the fourth inning now. Kerr bounces it up the middle with runners at the corners. They get the force at second, but Burns scores, and it's 6-1 Coon Rapids. The Cardinals really put it away in the 5th. Hansen fires this one to the top, to the gap in left center. Larson will score easily. Graham isn't far behind. That pushed the lead to 9-1, and the Cardinals dominating this one. 11-2 was the final score.
Yeah, big to get their offense going, and of course you talk about it being key. Facing elimination from here on out, the Cardinals trying to keep their season alive, and they come up with a big win over Andover in the next round. Also on Saturday, a 2-out, 2-run home run for Mackenzie Wilkins in the bottom of the 7th inning, or top of the 7th inning rather, broke the 3-3 tie. The Cardinals hold on to get the win. 8th grader Sam Loam getting her first varsity victory in relief, pitched 4 innings, gave up just 3 hits and a walk. The Cardinals are now 5-5 as the underdogs in postseason play in the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, great couple of games to keep their season alive, and of course they have a big one in front of them.
Yeah, the road definitely not getting any easier. They face number 3 Blaine on Wednesday. Should they win, they will face number 1 seed Anoka, and if they can win both of those games, they'll get a chance at the title against Forest Lake. Forest Lake, the last undefeated team in the bracket, so they would need to lose twice in order to miss their chance at a section championship and a trip to the state tournament.
Yeah, it's a tough climb, but you know, this time of year, anything can happen.
Yeah, the tennis team started the section tournament last Monday, but only got a couple of games in before the rain, so the match was restarted on Tuesday morning. The Cardinals were the 6th seed in the tournament, facing Cambridge Isani, number 11. Their regular season match was canceled because of weather, so this was really their first meeting as new section rivals. After the soggy start, a beautiful morning on Tuesday at the Bob Pivot Court. Stephen Yang playing at first singles against the Blue Jackets. Great change of pace to win this point, but Yang loses to Jedediah Bingham 2-6, 1-6. Drew Grimmer playing well at the number 2 spot. He gets this point on the mishit, but dominates in a 6-1, 6-0 win. Third single, solid baseline play from Alex Fish in the far court. Down the line on the return, then back to the near corner. And the return is going to be long. Fish also wins 6-1, 6-0. Brad Crotty serving at 4th singles for the Cardinals, and a nice job of court management on this point. Forced the hard angle cross that goes wide, but Crotty loses this one 1-6, 0-6. Split singles means it comes down to doubles. Power served by Aaron Bauer. Mike Fredrickson makes quick work of the return. They win a tight one, 6-0, 5-7, 7-5. Second doubles team will clinch the team victory, beating Knudsen and Roddy in a tiebreaker, 6-2, 6-1, 10-7. Finally, Adam Boyum and Nate Murphy teaming up at third doubles. They lose 2-6, 2-6. The Cardinals survive with a 4-3 win. And after just getting a bite to eat, they were back on the bus and headed to Chisago Lakes on Tuesday afternoon for their second match of the day, facing the Lakers, who are number 3, and their season ends with a 5-2 loss. The winners come from Bauer and Fredrickson at first doubles, had to go into a tiebreak there, and also in second doubles, a tiebreak victory for Bai and Timoa. On Thursday, the individual section tournament, Alex Fish beat the number 13th ranked player from North Branch in the first round, but lost to number 4 ranked Delane from Elk River in the second. Nate Bai lost to the 10th seeded Stumney from Forest Lake in the first round. Bauer and Grimmer, the number 5 seed in the tournament, they get a first round bye and then beat number 12 from Duluth East, but lost an upset to the number 13th seed Almond Bose from Forest Lake in the quarterfinal. Michael Fredrickson and Stephen Yang, the other doubles team, they beat to Blackwell and Hint, an unseeded team in the first round. Fredrickson and Yang, the number 10 seed, lose to number 7 Vecchio and Buck of Blaine, 3-6, 3-6 in the second round. And that wraps up the tennis season for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and they had a pretty good season and definitely successful. We had an opportunity to do one of their matches, and it was a lot of fun. So it's interesting to see. We talk about the combinations all the time and how they do, especially when they go into the section tournaments and that type of thing. And I thought they did a pretty good job.
And only a couple of seniors on this roster, so they should be well prepared for 2017.
Without a doubt. The track and field teams will be at Hamline University for the Section 7 AA Championship starting on Wednesday of this week. And the Cardinals are hoping for a better showing what they had last week in the Northwest Suburban Conference Championships. While they put up some decent times, they had just a handful of athletes advancing to Thursday's finals. Great weather for the big event at Forest Lake on Thursday, and the girls' 4x200 meter relay was strong. Cassandra Dixon gets the Cardinals in a great start. It's a tight race. Callie Lawrence hands off to Brielle Clark at the midway point. And then her sister Brianna Clark serves as the anchor and puts in a great effort to catch the leader, but comes up just a little short. Cardinals finish third. Senior Cassandra Dixon in the blocks again. This time it's on her own in the 400 meter dash. Dixon improves on her qualifying time, finishing a time of 60.8 seconds. That earns her a sixth place finish. Kelly Harris is one of the favorites in the hurdle. She finished fourth in the 100, and the 300 can't quite track down Irondale's Julia Hayes, but still takes second place in a time of 44.92. Nice job there.
Here's some of the other top finishers for the girls. Brianna Clark. One of them is Brianna. I'm pretty sure it's Brianna in the 200 meter. I always do this, and I know you do. Until we get on the seat. I'm pretty sure it's Brianna, third place in the 200 meter, and Brielle, fifth place in the high jump. Kamiko Hurdle was third place in the pole vault, 9 foot 8 inches. The 4x4 team finished third place as well. Callie Harris, as you mentioned, fourth place in the 100 hurdles. Devin Van Seth in eighth place finish in shot put. Hannah Gross, eighth place in the pole vault. And Elena Hedlund was 10th place in the 3,200 meter run. For the boys, just not a great showing at this tournament. They are hoping for better positioning in the section tournament. Paul Breitbach did finish fourth in the 2-mile run in a time of 10 minutes, 11.8 seconds. Gullickson Journal was fifth place in the pole vault, went up and over at 11 foot 9 inches. 4x8 team was eighth place, and Tim Mandyke was ninth in the shot put, a distance of 131 foot 6 inches. They go to Hamline this week, Wednesday, Friday for the sections. There are a couple on both sides that should have an opportunity. They're going to have to put forth their best effort of the season, but an opportunity to get into the state tournament, which will be back at Hamline the 10th and 11th of June.
Now, we wish them luck, and the weather should cooperate for that part of the week. Maybe iffy on Friday, but hopefully they'll get all the events in.
It's such a good thing to have a meteorologist at my side.
Yeah, no problem.
Boys golf team, unfortunately, their state tournament will be unattended by Coon Rapids golfers. They had an opportunity to play section tournament at their home course at Bunker Hills, and their top guys just were not on their games. Jeremy Howell's the only one to qualify for the second round. He shot a 94 on day 2. Elson an 86. Tyler Getz an 89. Travis Hess an uncharacteristic 90 in the first round of the section tournament. Pearson a 95, and also a 101, so no one able to advance to the state tournament. Girls golf team had last week off. They have their section tournament starting on Tuesday of this week at the links of North Fork, and that will be weather permitting, of course. But they have a couple of days to get that in, and by the end of the week, certainly should have an opportunity to get their holes in.
Absolutely, and again, hopefully they'll get those in, and they should be able to.
Both lacrosse teams wrapped up the regular season schedule last week. The boys team at home for both of their final two contests. Unfortunately, coming up short against both. 14-2, they lost to Anoka on Monday last week. And then a tight one against a Blaine team that is number 2 seed in the section tournament. So they played well with the top team, and I think that bodes well for the Cardinals. Going in at 0-14, they are the ultimate underdog. They are the last seed in the tournament, but they are the team that a lot of others may take lightly, starting with number 6, Centennial, who they see in the first round on Tuesday. And how this is a team that we did the game against Centennial. Centennial dominated the first half. Coon Rapids played right with them in the second half. And that's the kind of thing. I mean, just one win in the playoffs for a team like this would be amazing, and it do great things for the program moving forward.
Well, you talked about that loss to Blaine, and sometimes when you're a team that has not won a game, you maybe take a little confidence from a loss, and that 5-4 loss, even though they didn't get the win, they're able to say, well, we can play with Blaine, and the fact that they played Centennial close has to give them a little bit of spark. Be tough, but they'd like to get that first win of the season in the first section game.
Yeah, and it should absolutely give them a spark, and knowing that they go in with zero expectations, there is no pressure on them to win that game. As a number 6 facing in a number 11 Centennial is going to be under some pressure, and may, I think, be already overlooking and looking at number 3 Champlain.
Much more pressure for Centennial. No question.
Girls lacrosse team also rounding out the regular season. They had both of their games on the road. They beat Anoka 5-4 on Monday. All 5 goals from Helen Nelson. Lily Hackett had a pair of assists. Bolin and Keller also had helpers. And Taylor Garvis made 14 saves to get the Cardinals the victory. That meant the Cardinals flew into the regular season finale against crosstown rival Blaine, looking for their 5th straight win. But the Bengals were definitely not an easy target. Blaine was coming off a 12-5 win over Centennial that had ended a 3-game skid, and they too were looking for some momentum to carry into the playoffs. As is typical with this rivalry, it was a hard-fought battle that went down to the wire. Coach DeJoy getting his team fired up and hoping to stay the course, finish the season strong, but it's the Bengals that pounce on the early lead. Gina Rosewald, good look to find Abby Jones back into the middle for the goal. That put Blaine up 3-0, and they keep the pressure coming. Kirsty Ziegler with a long run behind the net, fights through some sticks out front, scores low against Garvis. Bengals threatening to run away with it. Cardinals stop the bleeding there. Allie Misquick up top finds Helen Nelson right in front. She turns and scores. Gets Coon Rapids on the board. They cut into the lead again before the break. Misquick drawing the defense, dishing to a wide-open Molly Bolin. She scores, and Blaine leads just 4-2 at the half. Momentum on their side starting the second, and a really pretty play. Misquick down low to Keller, out front to Kayla Ross for the one-timer to the back of the net. It's back to a 1-goal game. Bengals able to get the next one, though. Tight quarters in the Cards' defensive end, but Ashley Osbeck finds Gabby Rosenthal in front. She scores in traffic, gives Blaine a little breathing room, and that would turn out to be the game winner. Blaine holds on for the 5-4 victory.
Yeah, and I think a disappointing loss for Coach DeJoy. Obviously, knew going in, probably get the number 2 seed, but I think a disappointing loss from to finish the season that way on a more of a down note. They're a strong offense, and they'll come back and they'll regroup and they'll start anew in the section playoffs. But I think getting more players involved, additional scoring. Helen Nelson's having a great year, but they need other players to score as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, over the last few seasons, the Cardinals have been top seeds. They will be a top seed again as a number 2 seed.
Correct.
But they are not as heavily favored going into the section as they have the previous few seasons, where they have come up short a couple of times, losing in the section championship. Perhaps being a little bit, looking a little bit less powerful through the regular season may bode well now that they make it to the section tournament.
Well, it may bode well for them. I agree with that, and the fact they know they're a better team than that 5-4 loss to Blaine, so it gives them a little fire in that respect too.
Well, let's take a look at their brackets. They await the winner of Forest Lake and Spring Lake Park. This is just the bottom half of the lacrosse brackets. They will start their tournament on Wednesday. Forest Lake and Spring Lake Park play on Tuesday night. Centennial and Hermantown Proctor, the other play-in game on the lower half. They get number 3 seed Anoka in the quarterfinal round. Cardinals eyeing that number 1 Champlain Park team, a team they have a great rivalry with over the years, and a team that they lost to in the first game of the year when I think Champlain Park was just a little bit more ready, a little bit more seasoned veterans in their roster. The Cardinals playing much better now at the end of the season. It would be interesting to see those two meet with an opportunity for a state tournament berth at state.
Yeah, one game at a time, but you would love that matchup, no question.
Yep, so a lot of tournament action coming up this week. We will be trying to catch up with the baseball team as often as possible. They will premiere at 8 o'clock each night if we can get it here in time. It starts on Tuesday with the 5th-seeded Cardinals facing the 4th-seeded Centennial Cougars. But that's going to do it for this edition of CTN Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I wish you all a happy Memorial Day and a very good night.